Dew put in $1 million. And now you can help Team Rubicon too. Look for specially marked Team Rubicon bottles of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, and Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Enter for a chance to win weekly prizes at MountainDewTR.com and donate to Team Rubicon. You'll earn exclusive rewards when you do. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 and older. Subject to rules at MountainDewTR.com. Ends 10/3/2020.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy New Year, everybody. Good morning. I got to use saying good morning for all this stuff. Man, good gracious. 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. You know how to hit us up. You can follow the Starter Heyman live video stream. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Let's bring him in. Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman, superstar Rico running the board. Gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's crazy, isn't it?
Feliz Año Nuevo.
Thank you for making this.
That's New Year? What's Feliz Navidad? That's Merry Christmas?
Yeah.
All right.
Got to diversify this place.
Well,
it's not diverse enough.
I think it's plenty of diversified starting at 8:16 a.m.
It's not diverse
plenty
enough.
Diversified. It's actually diversified when DP took over. It probably shocked some waves around Lancaster County's city limits or whatever. County limits.
What do you mean?
They're like, dang, brothers is buying radio stations and stuff. Now you got some, you know what I'm saying? Now you got Rico behind some ones and twos.
Yeah, that really is. We need, even if he doesn't use them.
Little Mars Blackman. That's what little Mars Blackman. That's my dude right there.
We need two turntables in front of Rico. Just even if he doesn't use them.
Just have them.
Just have
I'll get one of those little kid ones.
Yeah.
I'll just sit right here.
Rico, you got the best, but
colors.
you got the best deal though, since you got a newborn and you got young kids. You get out of diaper duty in the morning.
No, I don't.
Oh, you got to hit it up before you leave?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Wifey has to be at work at 8 o'clock too,
Yeah.
so we both wake up and she takes a shower. I take care of the kids.
I got you.
So you have a plan, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we got a plan.
Yeah, you got a process.
All right.
No plan.
Well, then we don't have to, we don't have to worry anymore about Rico getting here on time.
Oh no, you still do. I like sleep. And if the
But
kids,
that's no.
We got to bounce at the door now.
If the kids,
got to bounce at the door now.
It's hard because she brings them to the bed, and then she's like, all right, I'm gonna take a shower. And if they're both asleep, they just snuggle right up next to you. And look, when a kid falls asleep next to you or on you, it's impossible. Like you can't not fall asleep.
I'm just saying, Jay. Jay will be at the door.
Okay.
All right. So y'all work
That's
that out.
understandable, though, man.
You were Jay. You were telling the story during the break, and of course Huskers get an O-line commitment this weekend. Your initial reaction to him was, "Why is this dude doing a split on his recruiting?"
Man, that's impressive. I mean, I have a struggle touching my toes. Well, homeboy to hit the splits. That's some flexibility. He played in the bowl game.
In the bowl game,
and he had started up until he got hurt, right?
Mm-hmm. He started, so he redshirted his freshman year, his sophomore year. He started like 9 games, and he got hurt. Came back for the bowl game, and the last week and the bowl game, and then this season he was a reserve offense. He was a backup for like 2 separate positions. He played sparingly due to injuries and stuff like that, but he was there.
Yeah,
he was the one that dumped the Gatorade on Gundy, one of the people.
I'm sure you probably want to hit him upside his head. Oops, my bad.
Especially if you're leaving, right? Like if you're leaving and you're leaving. Yeah, I'm going, oops.
My bad. Like they do with the Mayo.
But it's crazy, though, how many guys play in bowl games, but then they know they're transferring. Like the Florida quarterback already had said he's going in the transfer portal and started and played. Mm-hmm. And this guy as well. And, I mean, I get it if you want to finish. I mean, you know what? I got to give him praise that you want to finish it out right and to really finish it and be there not only in just body physically but then mentally there. I can respect that, but it's just like the quarterback from Wyoming. Now here's the difference though. I don't even, for you listeners out there, there's one thing that seems to be undefeated, Okay, Father Time is undefeated. Another thing is undefeated to influence, obviously, the quarterback position in the transfer portal where guys are going.
Mhm.
And I guess since I wouldn't even call myself old school, but it's just a weird mindset that if you go I guess if you're here 4 years and you're not there, like you can't go 6 more months, like, right? Or aren't
Time
you a
to go,
football
time to
player?
go.
Or are you trying, or is this like a limit date or love connection or something? And that is old school. Love Connection with a Chuck Willery.
Chuck Willery. Back in 2 and 2.
That was one of the shows I used to watch because I used to record that.
Rico don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, and that was when I had the double VHSs or whatever you can record or whatever. So it was that, Martin. It was all the shows on the same.
You know, you recorded
Jerry
All My
Springer.
Children.
No,
All My Children.
No, I didn't watch the shows.
Young and the Restless.
I never watched
like
the shows. No, never watched the shows. I grew up with my grandma talking about the shows, and that was plenty enough for me. But I'd watch all the Jerry Springer and all them.
You had Jay sitting in the couch like he's not watching, but he's got a tear rolling down his face.
Just one tear.
Like he's listening. He knows what's happening.
No, he put on the eye black so you could just wipe it away. You could just wipe it away.
As the ceiling is dripping.
Oh,
leaking.
eyeball sweat. Eyeball sweat.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
That was
it's humid outside.
That's the old day. Like that. All of this weekend was a whole bunch of conversations about, well, the way it was and the way it should be and the way it is now.
Oh, yeah.
And people were worried about
Too many things.
Yeah, like it there's simplicity in allowing young people who have the opportunity to change we're talking about generational wealth.
Some of them, yeah. And some of them, look, here's the thing. A year ago, or a little over a year ago, the same people would have been clamoring for 40-year-old guys to go out and play college football because of COVID, right? Everybody just wanted football, just wanted to get back to some normalcy. Now, there's not a direct connection. Now you got guys that are making, I guess, business decisions for the betterment of them to not play in one bowl game, and people all up in arms. I understand it because, it'd probably, it'd be hard for me not to play, but I was never a first or second round grade, or even at this case, in this day and time, first through third round grade. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get drafted there. But that's the potential that, you pretty much know you're going to get drafted. And then if you have a 1 through 3 grade, it's definitely something you need to consider. And if you're definitely a 1 or 2, that's definitely something that's going to lean you towards maybe not playing that game, because you've seen some guys get hurt. You've seen the quarterback from Mississippi get hurt, right? And I guess he's going to be all right. You've seen the center from Iowa that's supposed to go top 15 hurt his foot. I think he came back. But you see the Jalen Smith that derailed his career, and then you saw the Jake Butt from Michigan derailed his career, and then you've seen Saquon Barkley, who played sparingly in his deal, so you can't even really count that he played because he only played like a handful of plays,
right?
And so I understand it. It is a different generation. I think majority of the guys, the majority of the kids coming out of high school, they don't love football. The high majority, you can just see and just how they play, and they're probably better athletes depth wise. Like if there's 100 guys from say like 80s and 90s, they say there's 40 phenomenal athletes or 50. Now there's maybe a little bit, say the tick towards 70, 75. But why would they love the sport of football when they get everything that you would get out of performing at a high level with average input, right? So, so how these guys are covered, how these guys are treated from a very young age takes away that, because they never have the ability to deal with adversity, to work through it. Everything they do is on conditions, right? Everything they do is conditional. And football and sports in general, whether any sport you play, it's not conditional. The only thing that you control is 100% effort, both on the field, in the weight room, classroom, or in the meeting room, classroom, and how you act every day. There is no guarantee coming out on the other end that is going to be positive. But what these guys do, they say, well, I'm only going to give you what you should be given based on the condition that I'm going to be treated as such. So it's like either you want to think like a consumer mentality, I show up, treat me like a king, or I play football and I need everything and I need it now. And if I don't get it now, I'm not going to work. Now that works in a lot of cases, especially when you're in high school or when you play club sports, because you can go to 15 different clubs, right? There's kids that play, by 8th grade, they probably played, and this is like club baseball, they probably have played on every team in Lincoln. Well, you can't go to every high school in Lincoln. There's guys that have a kid that might be somewhat, I guess, special or whatever above everybody else at 6th, 7th, 8th grade in, say, basketball. Well, you're not going to be able to dictate that stuff in high school, because there's going to be other guys that are going to develop, blossom at a later age, and ain't no senior going to care about what your kid is as a freshman. I mean, they've seen you before, right? So, but those are that's the path that's set forward for some of these guys, and you can fault them for majority of it, but then you can't because, look, if you're, like. Take the Pickett kid or take Olave and Wilson. You're talking about going top 15. You're talking tens, $20 million guaranteed. That's setting that could be generational wealth and things that they can do, and let alone they all can play. And so they're setting themselves up for at least a second contract or ability to play 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the league at a pretty high rate of pay. But the games were good. It didn't really, I knew Ohio State was going to go out there. They got receivers upon receivers. They got a dude number 12 that nobody's even talking about because obviously 11 and 18 got off. Mm-hmm. Number 12, he a dog too, and he only got a couple plays. Then they got dudes coming in. So it was a good game, and people can be upset. I mean, look, everybody's looking for a subject matter to talk about, and the thing about football, it's always going to be something.
Well, I look at it this way. If it's think of it as though it's your child, your son, your daughter. And let's say that they have the opportunity. They've worked their tail off for the first 20 years of their lives, 21 years, right? They built this thing, and they know that they're going to be paid. They know that I'm going to be one of the top 15, one of the top 20. When you know that, then you then have to protect it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to protect anything. I mean, if you go in the top of the 3rd round, you're talking about a pretty significant amount of money. I mean, you're going
$4.5 million.
You're going from scholarship check and to that. So yeah, you got to protect it. And I mean, heck, you could have a great year, right? You could just be one hit wonder, and there's a position of need. Look at Kenny Pickett, right? Mm-hmm. He's one of the top. He's the top rated quarterback now. And there's obviously, you watch the NFL, and we talked about it, there's plenty of teams that always need a quarterback. So somebody's going to draft him in the 1st round.
The 1st round pick, Trevor Lawrence made $34 million on when he signed 1st round pick. The 1st pick in the 2nd round makes $8 million.
Right.
So that's the difference between being a 1st round grade and not playing the bowl game and getting hurt and dropping to the 2nd.
Yeah, like Jalen. And you can get some.
I mean, he got 34, and at 15, Mac Jones got 14.
Right.
So that's 14 picks, a difference of $20 million.
Yeah, which is all scaled, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of money. So I get it. You would like the guys to finish, but you got guys that go in the transfer portal without finishing. You got guys that go in the transfer portal in the middle of the season, which is totally unheard of. Because here's what, if you're thinking about going in the transfer portal in the middle of the season, this is what I would say. Even if you know, one, that you're not going to play, or that they're not playing you that much, that they haven't been playing you or whatever, now you're taking potentially, let's say you go in the transfer portal in the middle of October, right? So just say October. So it's October, November, December, January, and February. That's 5 months without doing anything football-wise. Mm-hmm. And you're not really, you can say, yeah, I'm in the weight room, but you're not, because you got to finish out the semester, and heck, people aren't going back to school to January 17th. So you're pretty much into February. So why not? If you know you're going, you never know what your chance could be. Look at Ramir Johnson, right? He was 5th on the depth chart, and he ended up being our best back this year. And then next thing you know, and you could be even the best back and be in a position where you're getting carries and still go in the transfer portal. But now you just took almost a half a year off. So now you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball to wherever you're going.
And you have no tape.
But then you don't once you're in the, but you can, a lot of these guys go off high school tape, relationships, supposedly. And if you played before, You got tape. But not playing football is a lot different than not playing basketball, because you can't get 22 guys with pads on to go play football to simulate it. But when you're coming back, say like from injury, or if you go in the transfer portal in basketball, you can go play different places. You can go in the gym and have one-on-one trainers and kind of get game simulations. You can't simulate football. Right. You can't participate football. You can't Halloween. I call it Halloween football. You can't fake football. It's either you play it or you don't. And so people aren't up in arms about that, or as much. I mean, there's guys been, what Brandon Hymas didn't play in the last game of the season because he wanted to get ready. And I know he had a Senior Bowl invite and stuff like that, but the Senior Bowl back when I was coming out, that's where kind of like the first and second round guys go. And if you wanted to make a huge jump, you go down there. I'll never forget when Keith Brooking went down there and he interviewed off the charts, went down there, and he had that mentality and took the Senior Bowl by storm. Then he shot up, and he had a great career. Don't get me wrong. Now they're just bringing they bring guys in because they don't have enough intel on them from the season.
Well, they also need bodies.
Well, they need bodies, but the thing is, you never would see a guy from like Southeast Louisiana to get a Senior Bowl invite, quarterback, because it'd only be from Michigan, Ohio State. Those would be the guys they're going to get drafted.
Well, that's also where guys from Southeast Louisiana had to go in order to get drafted.
They would
at another position. I mean,
yeah,
Brian Mitchell was a quarterback.
Yeah,
he got to the Senior Bowl and had to go play running back and be a kick returner. That's how Washington found him, is that they saw him at the Senior Bowl. It was like, okay, let this look. It's gonna be crazy the next couple of weeks, because you're gonna have more conversation about the money behind the business of college football. That's going to be the next conversation. I do want to talk to you about the Huskers coaching staff, but there's a question. We'll throw it a break, but there's a question I want you to ponder and give the answer when we come back. Scott asked this question: how much do players make if they get injured before the season while practicing in the NFL? Ponder that. Yeah, that's why I wanted to we'll set the table. Again, you guys, text in 402-464-5685. Old School, 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Sean Callahan with Coppell Chevrolet GMC. New vehicle production has been increasing, but the lots will not be filling up anytime soon. In fact, most vehicles are being pre-sold and are leaving the same week as they arrive. If you want your new Chevrolet or GMC, this is a great time to build a vehicle and place an order. Our sales team will work right with you to build the exact vehicle you want. At Coppell, we appreciate your business and sell vehicles at a fair price. So come check us out or visit us online at coppellcars.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years and can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Old School, 93.7 The Ticket, 402-464-5685, the Starter Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln Hotline. Jay Foreman, Rico, firing up. We had the question from before the break. How much do players make if they get injured before the season while practicing in the
NFL? Depends. Depends on the contract. If like most rookies have what's called a split. So if you get hurt, if you're not injured, you make your base salary. If you get hurt, then you generally make half. If you get hurt like in the off season, say like in a mini camp, and it's say you're out for the year, then you'll go on what's called injured reserve, and then you'll make your salary if you don't have a split. Now, what's interesting if people don't remember, or if people can go back and remember, during COVID, the NFLPA was, I think, telling players not to go to, or telling the players to go to the facility, but then some couldn't because of, I guess, pre-existing conditions, regardless of how you feel about COVID. That's just the way they were doing. And there was a guy, I think his name was Jawan James for the Denver Broncos, and he was actually working out toward his Achilles, and the Broncos cut him. But he has an autoimmune issue, so he actually medically couldn't be there. So it just depends on the contract and what you have in it. Like if you have a long list of injuries in your career, teams are going to sign you, but protect themselves against, say you had a couple knee injuries or something like that. So just kind of depends. And but once you're done or once you're injured, it's funny because there used to be this thing like they would be encouraging you, like say like if a guy that they wanted to, we used to call him like on the taxi squad or bottom of the roster, French guys, he'd be injured and say they were paying you your base salary, so you'd rehab from, say like from a high ankle sprain. Now, a high ankle sprain is going to linger a lot longer than, if you're trying to come back and help the team out and finish. They'll get guys like, oh, we need you back, get you on tape. Once they get you on tape on one practice and cut you the next day. Cold-blooded. And knowing dang well you aren't 100%, but once they got you with pads on and doing like drills, like, oh yeah, you're good.
So you could just show up and practice, but you couldn't contribute.
Well, yeah, technically once they get you to practice, then you're so-called healthy enough, and then they would cut you literally. It didn't happen to me, but I seen them cut guys. The practice was at 11. They get you out there for a little bit, even if it's individual. You cut by 1.
Yeah, I can go through. There's a laundry list of dudes that were injured at minicamp back in the day. Not the off season workouts, but that mini
camps. There's guys that affect their career doing it, and I always felt like I wanted to work out as much as possible. So if I got hurt, it's on their dime. So if anything came of it, they would have to pay my contract. So just kind of depends on what you got going on. And I mean, it's a lot different now. I mean, they got to do a lot of stuff virtually, and they don't have as many mini camps. They don't have as long as off-season programs. So everything's a lot different. And it's good in the sense of you do get a break from football. You get a chance to kind of really work on your individual game. But that's why you see football not being as good fundamentally, because the work that you get in And the more you can play in a defense and or offense, I think you can do nothing but get better, because running routes against a live defensive back at said mini camp, or if you're what they call now OTAs, which is pretty much practices, is better than going through ladder drills and doing all these fancy footwork things. And it's not, you never even run those type of routes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's actual physical resistance. There's a timing issue.
There's a timing issue. And you can go through these ladder drills for like 10 seconds and your feet are quick. But the ball's coming out in 2.2 seconds.
And nobody's pressing against
Nobody's
you.
pressing you. You don't have to read coverages on the move. You don't have pre-snap coverage versus a post-snap coverage. You don't have a pre-snap coverage without any motion. You don't have any. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are going on. So the more you can play football, the better you're going to get at it. So, it just depends on, the organization, the team, and the player. It's a lot different. And, that's the way it's only going to keep changing. And then, but, the game's not going to change. One thing that when I watched Green Bay last night, I mean, they murdered the Vikings. It might be time for Mike Zimmer to leave. Because of the way that they played last night.
Was
because
more of that.
Green Bay physically abused them.
Yeah, was that style of play? Because Minnesota
always plays Green Bay tough. It just looked like it was just soft. And a lot of the players that he kept around are soft. Anthony Barr being one of them. But then what really said, all right, this might be time for him to go, and maybe Kirk Cousins is going to be able to play next week, is that when they asked him about Kellen Mond, right?
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback that you just drafted.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around all year. And they said, did you at any point in time, did you think about putting him in the game? No. Or if you thought about putting him in next week or, something. He's like, I see him every day. Well, you're stupid then. You just drafted this dude. I think he went second or third round, right?
Mm.
The guy that you played was horrible. Terrible. I mean, he's skipping rocks out there. His throwing motion is bad. Now, look, Kellen Mond might not be an NFL starter to this day, but this is a dude that you heavily invested in, and he's a quarterback
because of his game tape, not because of his practice tape.
Right? Yeah, but
he was never a practice guy. He was a lights on guy.
Lights on, but it's your job to find an offensive game plan for him at the end of the season, which pretty much is a throwaway game because they need like 8 things to happen for them to get into the playoffs.
Right.
And for you not to even be open to that, and I get it. After the game, it's emotional. His defense got embarrassed, but that lets me know that your leadership style, that means you actually will never, ever be able to lead him. So if you can't lead him, he can't lead your team. It also lets me know that you're okay with how Kirk Cousins plays.
And they're guys that are on your roster that you can't lead.
Yeah, because Colin Mike isn't the only one that's getting that type of reaction.
Exactly. Oh my,
you get what I'm saying? So he's too busy up there trying to play favorites and not playing the best dudes.
Well, I'm gonna do what I do guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna do what I do, and I need just 11 people from Hy-Vee or whatever. Well, they got Rainbow Foods up there, and you come up there and you play in my system straight up. And it's just Minnesota has too much talent for them to play like they've been playing. Now, are they Green Bay? I think Green Bay is a better coach team. They have a better quarterback. They have Minnesota has just as good as Minnesota has probably better receivers if they're healthy with Thielen and Jefferson.
Yeah,
you can't get too much better than that.
Right. You got to top. Green Bay has the best, but overall, as a receiving core, Minnesota has better.
Green Bay has that dude.
Yes,
the best receiver in the game. Minnesota has, say, if Adams is
they got
one,
Cooper Kupp.
if yeah,
stop.
He's cold blooded. Hey, it's Adams, Hopkins, Kupp is 3 or 4.
Right,
Jefferson's right there.
Yeah,
so
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I want all those guys are there. I mean, I'm not trying to get into the rankings of the receivers, but he's a top 6 or 7 receiver. And then you got a great compliment in Thielen, right? Why do you think Stephon Diggs had an issue in Minnesota? You think it would, granted, Kirk Cousins was garbage. You think it didn't have anything to do with Mike Zimmer?
He said it had.
Okay, then. So then as an organization, everybody's going to be in CYA mode, right? Spielman's going to be like, all right, dude, I brought you in, but you know what? I like my job.
Somebody has to go.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting how the owner, Ziggy, who's a great dude. Now he's a phenomenal dude. who goes? Does he say, okay, both y'all got to go? Or do I say, you know what, I like the head coach enough. You're the guy that gave him the recipe. You need to go. Or actually, I like how you've been drafting and signing Kirk Cousins to the most ridiculous contracts ever. So then you got to go. It's going to be interesting because whoever takes over that team, now granted, if they don't blow it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got. I mean, you're ready, mate.
You have
everything
running back 2A.
You got
in the league.
You got okay.
Like there's Derrick Henry.
There's Derrick Henry. Then there's Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara.
Right.
Okay, and then you got 2 receivers. Right. You got Pro Bowl receivers. Then you got a tight end, Irv Smith Jr. Once he comes back. Okay, your offensive line at 3 of the 5 are pretty good. Okay, and then defensively, okay, you get Hunter come back. He had 10 sacks and still got hurt. Okay, then you got Sheldon Richardson inside, so you're tough up the middle. Hendrickson. I even let you have Anthony Barr because you're just stuck with his poison contract. Harrison Smith and 2 decent corners, and you got a young corner.
And get you a banger at safety.
Right, another one. Right, a box filler, and let's say take a little bit of pressure off of Harrison Smith.
Stud backer.
Right, and then they got a good returner. I mean, you got everything. You got a kicker. You got everything that you need. You know what I'm saying? And you got fan support. You're not like you're not
competing with much else.
And you got Detroit and Chicago in your division. So those are 4 wins.
It's pretty helpful,
right?
You beat Green Bay earlier. You beat them in
That's
November.
what I'm saying. Split with Green Bay and then hold your head above water against everybody else, and you're in the playoffs.
That's why the whole Minnesota thing is just mind-boggling to me. Another place that has a decision to make. We'll do it. Give me 30 seconds with Jay. What happens in Seattle? Who leaves? Coach leaves. Russell Wilson leaves.
Russell Wilson has been one out. And like I said, I just talked about this. This is the modern day version of the transfer portal quarterbacks here. There's something out there that's undefeated. Like I said, death and taxes, right? Father time, undefeated. Something else.
Because we can't say. One we can't say, but the other.
I know the Spanish version. Are we allowed to say the Spanish version?
No.
Hey,
maybe.
No.
So no. His wife. I mean, Seattle. She's a world-renowned singer. I mean, Chicago would be good for her. Everywhere else, you know what I mean?
He'll get a coast.
Pete Carroll
is.
Yeah, he'll get a coast.
Pete Carroll they don't need to start over. He's good for Seattle. It's going to be a good breakup between Seattle and Russell Wilson, and they'll get somebody that can, serviceable, but he needs to go somewhere else.
All right, we'll throw it to break. Rico, what's up, Rico? That's next. Stay tuned. I'm so afraid of what's coming. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
At Southeast Community College, we know that winter isn't even here yet, but spring is already on our minds. Registration for the spring 2022 semester is open now. Whether you want to get a head start on a 4-year degree, learn a new trade with a certificate program, or add to your job skills, SCC has a class for you. Spring semester starts January 10th. Learn more about our more than 60 programs of study online at southeast.edu. SCC, your path to possible.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
A mix of sun and clouds expected here for the start of the work week. Will top out near 40 with winds out of the south at around 10 to 15. Tonight, a few passing clouds lingering on, a low of 24. We should climb to a high of 42 tomorrow, but a strong cold front will move in tomorrow afternoon and bring another shot of bitterly cold air by the middle of the week. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the first version of Old School 2022. Rico, what's up?
How y'all doing?
How you doing, man?
Feeling good?
Good.
Feeling good?
Good.
I got to take up my victory lap.
Go ahead, man.
I really got to do this.
50 points.
So, well, it's not even that.
Oh, okay.
First off, Jake's going to be eating the hot chip next week.
Well,
he's going to be eating it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dolphins don't make the playoff?
No, it wasn't that. It was the Dolphins-Patriots game at the end of the season.
Yeah.
His 7-game win streak. He was so happy about it.
You see him slide out the door
real
quick.
He didn't want none of that.
No.
But no, my victory lap was with Bengals. When they were 5-2 before they went on that disgusting loss to the Jets and the Browns, that 2-game slide, I came in here and I said the Bengals are going to win the AFC North. Nobody believed me. The text line made fun of me. Happert Schaefer made fun of me. Everybody made fun of me. I was like, nah, watch. They have a really good quarterback. Their offense is clicking. Jamar Chase is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. Nobody believed me. Said Zach Taylor's got this. He's going to figure it out. Sure enough, last night, the Bengals beat the Chiefs. Kind of got lucky. Everybody said it. Even Joe Burrow said it. Kind of got lucky. But they won the AFC North. They're going to the playoffs. I got my victory lap. Thank you.
Take it.
Thank you.
Take it.
I told you them Tigers in Cincinnati, those Tigers in Ohio, they had it.
I'm not mad at them. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, they are fun to watch.
Look, Jamar Chase was on one last night.
He was taking basic slants and outrunning 7 defenders.
Yeah, he has a little suddenness into his game.
And Joe Burrow would just look at Jamar Chase on the sideline, just like, I'm going to throw this just about an inch away from the sideline. He's going to catch it, and he's still going to gain about 10 yards. Dude was keeping his feet in bounds and just churning.
All right, Rico. So I get to ask you, since it's your segment. Give me your top 5 teams in the AFC.
Top 5 teams in the AFC. I mean, Jay's Buffalo Bills. Okay. I'll give him credit there. The Bengals, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Titans. Which, I mean, I think that's the top 5 right now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
top 5 right now.
The Titans have the top seed. I don't know if are they getting Derrick Henry back for the playoffs?
I don't know. Nobody knows. If they get a bye, I bet you he comes back.
If they keep that top seed, yeah. But if they lose this last game and the Chiefs or the Bills win,
I think
they'll get jumped.
The Chiefs will.
One of those two will have the top seed. But if they just win their last game, they're the top seed. They get the bye.
But even if Derrick Henry comes back, he's not going to be. But he's still going to be dangerous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't have to load him up on carries because apparently you have a backup who's extremely capable, who can do almost the same things that he can do. So, Tennessee's sitting pretty. I don't think they're the best in the AFC. I might still give that to Kansas City. They're still figuring things out a little bit.
But if you could only bet on one team.
If I had to bet on one?
Kansas
City, probably still.
Yeah. You got Patrick Mahomes, man, and you got Andy Reid.
The defense was solid up until yesterday.
Recently. Yeah.
When I watched yesterday, because it should have been a rout. It looked like the Chiefs were going to run Cincinnati out of their own building.
Mm-hmm.
But Cincinnati stayed close to the vest and let their playmakers make plays, rather than Patrick Mahomes having to make all the plays for his team. The play calling was a little questionable to me down the stretch. Like, I was trying to figure out, why is Andy Reid why is he giving Cincinnati another opportunity?
That's the way they play, though. They play down by 20. They play better. They like playing that type of game. When the game's tight, they play different. That's why you're questioning it. As the game got closer, the play calling got more suspect. Yeah. Kansas City's the only team that actually operates more efficiently down by 14 to 17 points. That's exactly how they want to play.
That seems to be scarily true.
They want to air it out. They want to score quick.
And when the defense is creating turnovers, and look, you got Jones inside, Ingram,
Clark,
and Clark. When they're hitting, only the bad thing is you got Sorensen back there. He's just having a horrible year.
Yeah, and it seems like,
and he's never played this bad for this long.
It's Sorensen, and it's whoever their left side corner is.
Yeah, because the right side corner is actually playing good.
He's pretty solid, but whoever's on the left side, I don't remember who it is.
And they force everything to them, which is the weird
burned every time, because they kept lining Jamar Chase up on their right side, the Chiefs' left side, and just went at him.
Well,
and the Chiefs wouldn't adjust. They wouldn't put a safety over the top. They were just like, one-on-one, have fun.
But you can't, though, because you got Boyd. Their tight end actually is good, and they got T. Higgins. It's just, but I would, once Jamar Chase got over like 120 yards, I was like, yeah, we got somebody else is gonna have to beat.
Well, you have 200?
256.
Yeah, I'm still talking to Morgan Scalley about the Rose Bowl.
He ain't no Jackson Smith and Jigba though.
Like, you just 300. Yeah, come on.
You already saw that was going to happen. Didn't you see them in? Did you not see him in Lincoln?
We saw it. I don't understand.
That's the second best.
Jay, I'm going to ask you to put on your defensive coordinator hat and figure out how is this happening, and then how do you stop?
How is it happening?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll do that top of the hour at Old School.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Rice. In the Boys Basketball Heartland Athletic Conference Tournament, Lincoln Northeast got a win over Lincoln Southwest in overtime, 65-61. Lincoln Pies X won over Lincoln North Star, 54-29, to advance to the championship. They will face off against Lincoln Northeast. Lincoln High would exit the tournament after losing to Fremont in overtime, 61-51. In the girls' side of the tournament, Fremont won over Lincoln Southwest with a strong shooting performance from beyond the arc with a final score of 69-42. Lincoln Pius X got a win in a close game over Lincoln East, 59-52. The Lincoln Pius girls will face off against Fremont in their final matchup of the tournament. In games outside of the tournament, Lincoln Lutheran won over Holdridge, 77-63, and the Lincoln Lutheran girls also won in their matchup, 34-21. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTA FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios. This is Old School. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hour number 2 of Old School. Jay Foreman, Rico with us. We were talking about watching receivers just destroy defenses and not being able to do anything about it. Like nothing about it. Jamar Chase, look, the Chiefs had no answers. They had no answers. We're watching Ohio State. We're watching Ohio State and Utah, like Morgan Scalley. I love Morgan Scalley to death. But I was screaming at the TV, Morgan, what are you doing? Like, change up. Come up with something else. All right, Jay Foreman, put on your defensive coordinator hat.
Well, first of all, ain't nobody stopped homeboy all year, though.
True.
He's cold-blooded. The two dudes that turning pro early are cold. He's better.
And all year he's been a third receiver.
Yeah, but he's the best one. Even last year, he made that catch against Nebraska in the first game.
In the back of the end zone.
The back of the end zone as a true freshman. He's a true sophomore. He can do it. He can do it. The thing about him, he can do it all. The thing that Utah didn't do a good job of, they didn't get them off time, get off rhythm as far as jamming the receivers and showing them different looks. They just pretty much lined up like in, Ohio State just went out there and it was practice. They literally, after being down 14-0, said, look, we need to just get out of our own way. They're lining up exactly how we practice against, and they are not changing. And then they just never adjusted. Now, granted, he made some great plays. They had great throws. And sometimes the perfect coverage, the perfect call gets beat by the perfect throw and the better receiver and a better player. Okay, there's a few of those in there. But what Ohio State does a good job at with all the receivers is all of them know every position, and they can operate efficiently at every position. So you can't just say, okay, he's lined up here, so we can roll the coverages there. So
they put him in the backfield.
They put him in the backfield. They put him in the slot. They ride him on the left motion, so they can dictate. And then in a lot of teams and a lot of coordinators, the funny thing that they do is teams will go motion just to see if you're in man or zone. Well, you can motion and have a defensive back run with them and still play zone, but it's almost like they're too lazy to teach them that, because you'd actually have to get guys to be football players and really understand that you just would roll the coverage from one side to the other So then they wouldn't know.
It just pushes the safety back to the backside.
Well, it changes everything because if you're running, if the defensive end on the left was on, say he was rushing, and the right one was dropping, well, with motion, then it would just flip.
Yeah.
But that would just take a whole view and a whole defensive guys to being able to communicate. So Utah didn't do any of that, and they just got. You can't say they got embarrassed. I mean, homeboy was just on, and if they were still playing, he might have 2,000 yards right now. So
they didn't cover him, but I just
they don't have anybody that can cover him. They tried, and they didn't.
They're beat up. Together. So they were shorthanded anyway. So they had 5 defensive backs who were in the top of the rotation who didn't play. Like they pushed a running back to your starting cornerback. So yeah, you're at a deficit, but still,
they couldn't rush the passer. It doesn't matter who they had out there. Their scheme wise, they might have took him down to 225, but then Harrison Jr. would have probably had the other make it up. They had guys out there they couldn't cover. They couldn't cover their tight end. It was a great game. Both two well-coached teams. Both two teams are very competitive. I think Ohio State woke up a little bit and said, "Hey, look, these boys are here to play. Let's have some pride about themselves." What you got to give them
Utah's quarterback
credit for
was nice.
Yeah,
nice. And then even when he got hurt,
the freshman from
dude comes in off the bench,
right,
ice cold, and takes him down and ties the game at 45.
Yeah,
like the only thing you say to do, you just scored, you tied it too soon. You gave him too much time. This is like perfect.
That happened twice on Saturday, where a freshman quarterback from the city where the college is located had to come into the game and try and win, because it happened happened for Ole Miss as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, Utah's legit, man, and he's built a nice little program out there, and Ohio State just a better team.
So we saw the semifinal games of Georgia and Alabama, and that's literally all you can say is Georgia and Alabama. Like Michigan and
Cincinnati tried for about a half.
Cincinnati had everything to compete with Alabama except for an offensive line. It's amazing that they went undefeated with that offensive line.
Details, though. Why? Why is that true?
Why is their offensive line so bad? They just had bad footwork. They weren't very physical. So then all year, Cincinnati's offense hasn't been as dominating as you would like to see from somebody outside of the Power 5. But their defense, what you saw, is legit, right? Because they got 2 first-round corners, or 2 guys second-round corners that could lock down anybody. Actually, 3. And
apparently their number 1 corner, I still have to look it up, but I saw it late last night and I didn't have a chance to look it up yet. He hasn't allowed a touchdown his entire career at Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's for real. So that's how they're doing it. But then they have a good quarterback, good tight end, a good running back, actually a really good running back, and a really good receiver, but the offensive line is bad. So that's why you see the up and down, right? But then when they beat Notre Dame, the quarterback had to make plays, on his own. But when you're playing against Alabama, and I know everybody's fell in love with Aiden Hutchinson, mm-hmm. Alabama has the best pass rusher in Anderson. He has better stats. He has better tackle. He has more tackles for loss, more sacks, and he was flat out dominating against Cincinnati. And then he brought all his homeboys with too. But Cincinnati, that game was better than the Michigan-Georgia game.
This is Big Ten country. As you watched Michigan, what did it tell you about the Big Ten?
It did tell me. I think Michigan's better than what they showed. I think Georgia was extremely motivated and focused because they got embarrassed. I think Michigan's strength and what they did well, and how Michigan never had to adjust all year. So Georgia is the first team that actually came out and say, you know what, we're not only going to match you physically, we're going to make you try to match us physically, and we're going to be so aggressive on defense that you're going to have to sit back, or you're going to have to adjust, and they just couldn't adjust.
My dude, so I got a couple of my buddies who were with Georgia, and they texted before the game when I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of Michigan's linemen walking into the stadium wearing shades and run the damn ball shirts, and Georgia got wind of it early, before the game, and then what I love about really good programs is when you challenge them, the challenge gets answered. And on the very
first play, 44, lifted homeboy up to and I know he was like, dang, this is going to be this is the first play that I pulled around there. And what you saw in practice and how you got hit in practice is totally different than some brothers that was mad. And yeah, I saw Aiden Hutchinson coming in there. I mean, he looked like a guy out there. He looked slow, sluggish. He didn't know what to do. And like I said, Michigan never had to adjust all year. So this is the first time they fought against or played against some teams that actually fought back to the level of intensity that that was needed. And so, you know, I like Georgia. I like Alabama. I like their mindset of our defense, regardless of how many guys go to the NFL or whatever, we're going to try to be dominant on defense. And you can still do that in college football. And they showed you it year in and year out, you can. And yeah, they're able to have, you know, they're always battling for one or two in recruiting classes, but at some point in time, they don't really have those guys because, to be honest with you, I think Alabama has a safety that's definitely wasn't, I think he was a 2 or 3 star recruit. Another guy that was 2 or 3 star recruit. Now they do have the defensive line, but the way that they scheme things up, they are not playing to sit back and not be aggressive. They are coming forward. They are playing concepts. They are taking away your strengths, and then they're going to try to play to their strengths.
They have more defensive audibles than anybody in college football.
Both of them.
Like
they play pro style type of defenses because they're coming there. So we're going to take away what you. We're first of all, we're going to be physical. Okay, that's not even
when your linebackers roll up and put a head under the hat of a pulling offensive lineman from Michigan.
They ain't playing no games though. That's what I'm saying. You're not. Football is not a game to be played with. If you're serious about your playing football, okay. When I get inside them white lines, my job is to tear your behind up as best as I can do. And them dudes is doing it. Jonas Jennings, we played together. I texted him before the game. He said, watch what happens.
Like
that was it.
Do.
And then
Like
after the game, he said, I told you so. He's like, them dogs is coming.
Yeah.
And so
it's wild how Georgia and Alabama, those top tier defenses, can lose so many guys to the NFL one year and the next year come back with the best defense in the land again.
And Alabama's defense it was struggling last year. Alabama last year lost 8 guys in the top 38 picks. 8 in the top 38 picks.
And still just loaded.
Still just loaded.
Well, a lot of those Iron Manx aren't. Like
those
Iron
guys
Sharpers iron.
Because they are, and the guys that are playing now were playing some because they were obviously beating teams, you know, a year ago, probably, you know, 15 more points. But the guys that are playing now were covering kicks. Those guys then were covering punts. So while they're playing now, they've already earned their stripes.
Well,
and then the next guys.
Well, if you're a defensive back and you got to face Smith and company every year, every day.
Oh, you're going to be ready.
Like you're not
you're going to be ready. First off, you're going to be ready. Secondly, I can only imagine how annoying that would be.
Right.
But you're going to be ready, but you're going to be competing. But you're going to be you've earned your dues. Those guys are. This is the thing. Everybody says it's hard to recruit or get guys to buy in, and that's the dumbest thing ever. Because the buy in is like, are you either gonna? I got to ask you to work hard. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm giving you a $200,000 scholarship, or you earned it, okay? But then now you're trying to tell me since you don't need to work hard or you don't need to do what you're asked to do. So now I got to ask you to do more than what you did to get here. Like that doesn't make sense. But what they do is down there is you come in, you get distarred, and it's harder to do that because a lot of the guys that they're recruiting really can actually project themselves and think about the next level because they're 5-star, 4-star recruits. They don't have to get bigger. They just got to get better. You know, they got to get
more technical,
and a lot of times just wait their turn.
Well, and get used to playing and practicing
the right way and do it and get
level.
Developed to be,
right.
But all the things that you have to do like they're highly competitive. They're highly coachable. You know, I was reading this one quote that an average player just wants to be left alone. A good player wants to kind of be coddled. A great player wants the truth, no matter how good or bad it is, because they're constantly trying to improve. You know what I'm saying? And there's all quotes out there. You got an average player that wants to put in minimal results and expect it. Then you got the great players out there that are putting in, great effort and still wondering if it's enough. Alabama, I mean, the tight end 81 that caught a touchdown, he's not even the starter. Billingsley is the starter. They talked about in the game how Nick Saban, the reason why 81 is playing half the time now is because he put one of the highest rated draftable tight ends on notice. You're almost out of the program. So you know what? Not only are you on thin ice, you're not going to play for the couple games. And guess what? When you came back, homeboy that was way behind you in spring, he's starting. So now this is what you set up for yourself. But that's the way it is.
And you said the thing about waiting your turn. It's wild how at Alabama and even at Georgia sometimes you've got those 5-star freshmen who you say, they come in, they already look the part. They already look like they can play right away. But they don't start until maybe they don't play really all that much until maybe their junior or late in their sophomore year.
Well, I mean, they still got it. They might come out and they might be big, but they still got to get into Power 5 shape. And there's guys that are playing. I mean, the problem with a lot of kids that are coming out, and sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can't, is that they come here and they think, again, it's the consumer mentality. Everything's conditional, right? I'm here. I just left high school. So that means I was good at, just say for me, Eden Prairie High School. So now I need to come in and take over the Big Ten. But there's other guys that have already been here, that have been through the program, that have played. These are, guys that are closer to being grown men than a lot of high school freshmen. And so a lot of these guys don't understand patience, how much time it takes to be good. They think since they make one play, then they have arrived. Well, it's plays. If you ask Nick Saban, okay, if you had one good practice, you're not going to get his attention until you're actually putting together heck of a practices and then obviously games
against all Americans and all conference players.
Well, sure.
Like if you're the number 3 corner, you've got to press up against an all-American receiver every day and really show up every day
and just compete. That's it. If people think it's competing, is just they massage it, or I always say they smoke screen it by, running around and kind of making it look like you try hard. But you could be creating it like in reference in the basketball. Yeah, you could be showing everybody like, oh, you play good effort. But are you that guy that's running around and creating chaos on defense? So, if Rico has the ball and I'm running down there flapping my arms, and Rico, you're actually supposed to guard Rico. Well, then I'm running towards Rico. Then you're like, well, I got to be a basketball player and go get somebody else. I realize I don't need to go get Rico. Okay. And then Rico's open for a 3.
The best coaches, the best way for coaches are to find you or for you to make. So if you're a safety,
right,
once an offensive coordinator has to talk to a defensive coordinator about a guy.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how you move. Like that was always, why is my third team safety messing up my first team reps?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, why is that middle linebacker beating my starting center? Why is that third middle linebacker beating my center? And that's where it was. And that leads me to this whole question about the Huskers and what goes forward. Because I said last year, I just didn't think the competition level at practice was where it had to be in order for things to show up the way they did on Saturday.
Right.
With new coaches coming in, is this the change in direction, momentum, narrative for Nebraska football? Like, will the new coaches will Raiola come in and change the way business is being done? Will Joseph come in and change the way, not only the way, but the level?
It's going to change the expect. Look, here's was the clash of the Titans, in my opinion. This was just from watching the games and looking at the roster and personalities, right? So, and I've been in this position. Well, I never had to be in this particular position, but being in this position when you're like a younger guy and say like there's older guys, say like in your position group, and this happens a lot. It happened to me a lot in the pros, where you're a younger guy, and yeah, you might want to say something or or whatever, but this guy's older than you, and he's going to be playing. So you kind of really can't. You're placing. You can't
overstep your
boundaries, or the boundaries are already set, right? So you had some guys that came back, that had been there, and they were playing. They were decent players, and then you had the young and up and coming guys that wanted to compete and do the things the right way. But then you had other guys that were there, that were already been there, that were pulling away from that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there, it's like this in the pros sometimes. If you got a guy, if you got to say you got 6 guys on defense or 7 that want to practice like it's a game, and then you got 4 that's like, all right, we're just kind of, going to do our thing, right? 7 guys is what you want. The 4 that pulling away can take away from those 7. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're in the right place for it, and I actually think that the guy they competed enough. I think the dynamic of some of the personalities hurt the overall ability of the team to go forward. You could talk about who's did or didn't step up from the opportunities in the running back room, who ended up in the transfer portal, personalities, or were they there for the betterment of the team or the betterment of themselves, right? All that stuff. And so, but then you got a good nucleus of young guys that are ready to go. And then look, man, Mickey Joseph. I mean, we just talked about Jamar Chase and Jefferson, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's used to seeing. All right. So you can't question, like, if he says, I need you to run 10 fly routes as hard as you can, and you're going to get it on the 8th, you can't question that, because he's got 2 of the best top 5 receivers in the league. I don't know
whatever you want to say.
Whatever you want to. He has the 2 best receivers that come into the league each year. 2 years ago and this year that he's coached.
They've got the rookie receiving records for a single season.
And developed them both. And both of them were 3-star recruits, I think. Right?
I have to look it up.
Yeah, they both were like 3. They weren't like
the guy.
The guys. So his standard is already set. Don't question anything. Riola's going to he's going to change it from the attitude standpoint.
Let's go to that.
It's going to be clear and concise, and it's going to be heavily built on fundamentals and being physical. He's going to move people. I mean, he's coached at Notre Dame before, coached with the Notre Dame coach. The godfather of Notre Dame's offensive line is his mentor. So Notre Dame's had probably over the last 10, 15 years the best offensive line, one of the best groups in the nation, right? He's going to be talking about moving people. He's going to be trying to hold each other accountable. I mean, when he the little that he'll talk is that when he says that everybody needs to move together, that what does that tell you? 5 guys need to move together. When you were covering the Redskins, right, when they had the Hogs, did you ever see? If you saw Bostic, you saw Jacoby. If you seen McKenzie, you saw May. If you saw McKenzie and May, you saw Bostic, Jacoby. You saw them all together. You saw, Stink. He was kind of like the guy that the little brother. But before he got in, he was in there. All those guys, you saw them together, right?
Yep.
What offensive line that's good that you haven't seen that those guys roll together?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. I mean, you think about Shell and Upshaw.
But the whole group, I mean, even when the pipeline was here, those guys, they all lifted together, they all ate together, they all probably busted each other's chops. They probably, if they ever drank beers or anything, they drank together. All of them they did. And then,
but those dudes carried it to Saturday.
But that's how you get it to say. That's that's part of the deal.
Like, I'm not talking about the branding of the pipeline.
I'm
talking about the work.
Oh yeah, but that's all into it. You can't, if you're a part of the offensive line is probably the one singular unit built with 5 people.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't have one guy over here operating as if you're not a part of it, or think that, okay, you're just doing your job without the other 4 not performing. You're taking away from them 4. It's either all 5 of us are going or we're not going.
You got to work in unison.
You have to work in unison.
1 mind, 5 bodies.
When you think of the Denver Broncos offensive line, why do you think that they ran the stretch zone so effectively? Why do you think Mark Schlereth became the personality or the brand that he is now? Granted, his personality, but with those guys. Because of Dan Neal, Big Daddy Tony Jones, Yeah, Lepsis at right tackle because they did everything in unison. That's what made it go. That's why that offensive line was so good.
Then we're saying that didn't happen a year ago for the Huskers.
No, you asked what Riola and them is going to be having them do, and that's part of it. When you hear them say that they all move together, that's kind of like when Sipple was talking about, I'm taking you to deep water. It's a mindset. We're all moving together.
Can it be turned around in 5 months of an off season?
Yeah. Why? I mean, why wasn't it?
The story is
the turnaround. People always ask the turnaround is the one. I mean, look, man. At the end of the day, you need to worry about one day at a time. One day at a time. Don't be thinking like,
people get mad at me when I say that.
But everybody's up here talking about, well, what if this doesn't happen? Then, the coaches are, you hire coaches and they really have 1 year to turn around. No, they don't. No, they don't. You come in here and coach, and these guys know they've coached. This is a professional job for them.
Mm-hmm.
They know what the heck they're doing. Or ideally, I was, you know what I mean?
You would hope so.
they know what the heck they're doing, and they're going to come and do it. And so they're not taking this job. They're not taking this job like Mike Riley did, sight unseen. I'm sure.
So they know.
Well, I'm sure they looked at the roster. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Okay. I can only
Stop that.
No, I'm only guessing. I'm not Mark Whipple, so don't say stop that.
No.
I don't know
your
what
IQ,
they've seen.
Your football IQ is off the charts,
right?
So,
but I'm not them. I'm not offered a job as an offensive coordinator or offensive line coach. I'm only assuming, but I also know that there's coaches that take jobs sight unseen. Mike Riley took a job by looking on YouTube.
Yikes!
Straight up. So I'm assuming that if you're going to leave, I'm assuming that he's. And I can only guess Mark Whipple with the type of pedigree and his coaching experience. Obviously, they probably interviewed and probably talked to whoever they need. Is that they say, okay, I can help out and do this. But this is a holistic thing. It's not like the great thing about it and the hard thing about it is the defense was decent last year. They were a good defense, but you lost some parts, so now you got to replace that. So that actually will ideally up your competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there ain't nobody that's over there should be sleeping right now in their dorms or wherever if they're back home thinking I ain't got to work. Then offensively, there's a ton of opportunity because you eventually, I guess, have a new running back coach. You got a new receiver coach, new offensive line coach, and a new offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. So the guys that were redshirted
got a shot.
The lights are on now. So and it doesn't matter because if you're a redshirted receiver, and in particular, I like those young guys because of the size and with the young guys coming in. This is it. You know what I mean? This is a chance. And it might not, this is it can't be, I'm going from red shirt to Jamar Chase. That's you got to go somewhere in between.
Yeah. Jamar Chase was the 84th player nationally. So he was a 4-star.
So he was good. Yeah. So
but Justin Jefferson was a 3-star.
Yeah. Okay. That's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
He was the 2,164th player nationally.
There you go.
And they got it wrong.
And he's a first-round pick and rookie of the year, and had the receiving record until his teammate, his old teammate, broke it.
They got it wrong.
Now I'm gonna ask you this in short. Now this is very, very small sample size. Chase, Jefferson versus Odell and Landry. Who's better?
Oh, give me the young cats.
Yeah, and it's not even about production because Odell's first year or his big year was off the charts. It's here because when you hear those guys talk. They love to compete. They love to play football. They don't care about Instagram, going to the ESPYs.
Where did Landry go to college?
LSU. They were there at the same time with Mettenberger.
Where did Beckham go?
LSU.
That's why I asked you.
It's the factory for me. The progression was a smarter version
of the two.
Like I think what happened, they've gotten smarter about how they produce. That's all I want for Nebraska.
Yeah,
it's for
them.
I
mean, it's a two-way street. Like you can come in as DP and say I can lay out for Jay or Rico, but say you're laying out something for Rico. Okay, then Rico's got to be able to say, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to run with it and go with it, and then actually Rico's going to add his spice to it, right? So, coaching is a relationship deal. They can't just be one side. Everybody's thinking like, well. New coaches and that could solve it, or you need a everybody was like, oh, we need a big name guy that's done it before. Look, man, or as far as like offensive line, offensive line, no offense to any offensive line coach or offensive lineman out there. I love an offensive line as much as anybody, okay? But playing offensive line isn't that hard. You know what I'm saying? Now I know Donovan might put me in a headlock, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But here's what I mean by this.
Wait for that light to light up.
Yeah. Here's what I'm saying. Is you're part of a group in an individual sport as far as like a corner. There is nobody else that can help you.
You're the front line. Like,
no, but what I'm saying, when you're a corner or you're a receiver, you can't say, okay, us two receivers are going against one DB. It's one-on-one, right? Defensive end, you're essentially going against the tackle. You got 5 guys that need to play in unison. And if offensive lines can really, really make big changes if they do the small things right and then take it a step further. I said it like a few weeks ago. When you look at all the Alabama linemen that have been drafted really, really high, have any of them really panned out to be perennial All-Pros or Hall of Famers? Like I was talking about
Trent.
Trent's from Oklahoma. Trent Williams.
So,
but I'm thinking Andre Smith. Okay, they went to Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Number 3. Mm-hmm. When you watched him in college, he started at right tackle, went to left tackle, and he destroyed everybody. Now, granted, he got a little bit of injuries in Cincinnati, but he never really was that guy, the franchise, right? He wasn't Willie Anderson, right? He could never even really beat out Willie Anderson, who they wanted to get out of town. Then he couldn't beat out Whitworth, right? And they kept him. And then he ended up moving to guard towards later in his career. Here's what I'm saying. Alabama gets these guys to do the small things, and they do it so well. It works phenomenal with them. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. It looks good because doing the basic stuff right. You're doing less better. We're toward the break. More. I do want to talk about Mr. Brown. Let's go into that conversation next on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
If you're thinking about a new career, improving your job skills, or just continuing your love of lifelong learning, Southeast Community College's Spring Continuing Education Catalog is hitting your mailbox soon. It's chock full of options. Learn how to write a compelling grant application, become a pharmacy tech, or even learn to ride a motorcycle. We even provide the bike. Check out your catalog or go to southeast.edu/continuing education. SCC, your path to possible.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a Ready Next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
Opioid pain medication took everything that I had. Nothing mattered more than getting my fix. Knowing that it could have been prevented makes it worse. It just takes one.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Developed by CDC.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
A mix of sun and clouds expected here for the start of the work week. Will top out near 40 with winds out of the south at around 10 to 15. Tonight, a few passing clouds lingering on, a low of 24. We should climb to a high of 42 tomorrow, but a strong cold front will move in tomorrow afternoon and bring another shot of bitterly cold air by the middle of the week. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to Old School. During the break, we were talking about some of the things, little things, and this is why I said when Jay tells you, well, I just don't know. No, Jay Foreman knows.
Yeah, but I don't like to speak for people, though.
Well, no,
but,
I actually speak for you.
I don't want to. Oh, yeah, for me, what I'm assuming it's no different than always equate things, because I always say college football is like professional. So when an offensive-minded coordinator takes a head coaching job in the NFL, right? So everybody knows that most likely the Bears coach is going to be gone. So you would like to think that whether it's a new GM and coach or GM first, that Justin Fields is they're with him leading their franchise.
And that they agree.
They agree, right? You can't have one, this, and this, and it can't be, oh, well, let's see a couple years. We got to be all in with Justin Fields. So when you're thinking you're coming here, you got to think, hey, look, man, I can do some work with these guys or this particular position group, or I like the young talent. We just got to develop it and then go from there. And but you got the oddities or the off brand guys that like, which you don't, you can't blame Mike Riley getting a phone call, particularly when he was on the hot seat about to get fired at Oregon State, and they say, hey, you want this job in Nebraska, we're going to double your salary and your whole staff salary, who you bring. Yeah, I'm going to take it sight unseen. So you can't fault them for that. So, people are always worried about, everybody likes to look at end results and do comparisons and then be like, well, if it's not particularly perfect, then you know what, we need to go and start all over again. And then they'd be the same people complaining about starting all over again. So at the end of the day, the approach needs to be, we are going to be the best that we can be on, in this case, Monday, whenever they start. Tuesday, we're going to win those days. And then you got to have it clear and set out how you individually are going to win that day. Because the only thing that you can control as a football player, as me as a linebacker, say like I'm at Nebraska, is what I do on a day-to-day basis. And one, for me individually to be the best I can be and go out there and compete. And then two, to be the best I can be for just as important is the University of Nebraska, the defense, et cetera, et cetera. That's the only thing you got to give maximum effort and without guarantee the results. But the only way you guarantee good results is giving maximum effort.
Well, but you playing linebacker, let's say you're a freshman here and you're going against the pipeline.
Yeah, which I did.
And you're taking losses.
Yeah.
Rep by rep, practice by practice.
That happened, yes.
And at some point, the light goes on where you say, damn, I need to get better at this, this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then you work.
Right. Yeah.
To get better.
Yeah, right. And so, it started out, I mean, there was times I walked back to, I think it was an Able dorm, you'd be walking back and, I mean, look, man, you go to practice and you get your butt kicked for 3 hours. That's not fun. And you start to question some stuff because, like, hey, I was just a good player in high school. I can't even make it. I can't even get off the practice squad or, and I'm getting destroyed. And then, so you're taking L's 4 days a week, say Monday through Thursday, right? and then say, you know what, you start evaluating every practice. I held my own today. Wasn't a complete loss. In this period I was better. This, and this. Then you start, okay, well, I actually had practiced well that day. I won that day. Realistically won that day. Output wise, effort was always there, but I actually played well. I did better. Maybe I got off blocks better.
Well,
maybe I was.
Sometimes it could be your prep got better, right?
But when you're on red shirt, you're out there playing. You out there competed. You got off blocks or whatever. You just didn't physically get your butt kicked, or you were able to compete. You were able to cover a route better. Maybe you did a better job with your feet or hands against Abdul Muhammad or something like that, and you didn't get smoked. Maybe he did catch the ball, but I was right there. I made it harder on him. Then, like 2 weeks later, maybe I broke up a pass on him. Maybe he was mad and said I knew the route, but I actually just played the route, played it honestly. And then, then you get a little bit better. And that's how if you're a competitor, you always got to be checks and balances. I always think that, like, as you go back and watch your tape, say you watch in the spring of tape last year or watch last year's spring in this coming spring, you want to look at yourself physically and be like, man, I'm different.
Stronger,
right?
faster.
Right. And then you want to say, like, man, I'm not moving that fast. Now, that might be just because I learned that from Coach Samuel, and you want to be your harshest critic. That's the only way you're going to get better, is try to get, nobody's ever arrived. If we had a ton of guys that have arrived, then we wouldn't be 3-9. I mean, there's other circumstances that led to 3-9, but, ultimately, our record wouldn't be where it's at. So a lot of guys need to get better. And there's nothing wrong with that, though. That's what sometimes what fans don't understand. There's nothing wrong with guys having to get better. Have a problem when they don't get better or they don't think they got to get better.
That part.
And that's because I'm sure there's been guys that have been told, all right, I need you to get better at, to say A and B, right? There's a lot of guys that just don't like hearing that you got to get better. They think either you're a hater, coach doesn't like me, or I don't like the coach because he says I need to get better. Now, maybe that you didn't like how the message was delivered, or it made you feel uncomfortable, but ultimately you still need to get better.
What's going to be Donovan Raiola's biggest friction? What's going to be the thing that he needs to change or adjust that will be the most difficult of the bunch? Is it recruiting? Is it practice? Is it off season? Is it film study? Is it game tape?
I don't think he's going to have any resistance. I think resistance is probably gone. So I don't think he's going to. I'll be very surprised you have any resistance. I think that it'll be a little bit different, and that's just because there's a new voice and a new way of doing things, and it's just going to take a little bit for guys to adjust. He's going to bring, unlike what people think, the fact that he coached at the pro level, whether he was a offensive line coach or not, that gives him a lot more credibility than 90% of the offensive line coaches out there in American college football. So because he's seen more complex defensive schemes, he's coached against better players. Heck, he's coached in training camp against one of the best defenses in the league, in the National Football League. Khalil Mack and Hicks up front are problems, and their offensive line has been injured, and so he's had to figure out ways to game plan and get guys better to compete just in practice, right? And let's not forget, Chicago Bears for the last 2 years, and I'm not sure what the running back is doing this year, for the last 2 years had a 1,000-yard rusher. So obviously, coaching the run game is worked at some point in time. So I don't think there'd be much friction. He's probably just got to get in there, evaluate guys, see where guys fit, and the guys got to be open to adjust. Playing different positions. Sometimes guys be like, oh, and I'll never forget this, man. I will never, ever forget this. I'll never forget when I first got to Buffalo. And so I played middle linebacker my last 2 or 3 years here. Started out at outside, so 2 years, whatever it was. So I'm kind of, that's where I thought they were looking at me, right? First man. And I've done both, but I hadn't done outside for quite some time. And then I hadn't done outside 3-4 in a lot of time. First mini camp. And you always are trying to project where you're going, whether you're going to make the team, reps and all that, right? Well, Marlo Perry had a little off-season knee surgery, right? So he's usually an outside linebacker. So I had to go in behind the starters as the 2. And I was kind of moping around or whatever because one, I was uncomfortable. Then I'm thinking like, dang, these dudes just drafted me and they ain't giving me a fair chance or whatever. Went through it and kind of, it was doing okay, but not. I was looking, slow. Wade Phillips and Ted Cottrell, who Ted Cottrell was the defense coordinator at the time, pulled me aside and he's like, how you like, what you're doing? I was like, hey, I hadn't played this in a while and I'm playing against some pretty good dudes. I'm trying to figure it out because at that time the 2s were going against the 1s. And they were like, good. I was like, what? I was like, I'm trying to make this team now, right? I mean, I'm not even talking about starting. I'm trying to make the team.
Right.
They're like, this is going to help you make the team. And Ted Cottrell pulled me aside. He's like, this is how it's going to make you make the team. You playing this position will help you play inside linebacker better. He's like, we've watched you for 2 or 3 years at inside linebacker. You know what I'm saying?
We know what we're getting.
We know what you're getting. We know you can play.
Yeah.
Now we're adding something to your repertoire, right? So say like if I usually play tackle and I might have to take reps at guard, don't pout about it. Be the best that you can be there because the more you can do, the more you'll get. And I learned that. I was lucky enough to be drafted by Buffalo and have those guys there and be thrown out there. I mean, literally got off the plane next morning, mini camp. I'm thinking I'm in the house inside linebacker room. He's like, oh, no.
You got to go down the
Yeah,
hall.
you need to go in there or here.
I was like,
what the hell?
You
Right?
go down the hall.
So, that's the way it is. And so I don't think it's going to be bad at all. I think it's if guys approach it the right way, it'll work out for everybody. Best 5 will play. I know he wants to get more than 5 guys ready to play, so that's good too. So everybody's going to be in there. You don't have to come to practice thinking like those 5. And I don't think this happened this year, but you're going to be coming there and everybody's going to be, accountable to practice and play at the same high level. So I think it'll be good. I think it's, I'm sure they're excited. I think they're still trying to, figure out how they're, the coaching staff or whatever, finishing. I think there's 1 spot open or so. Yeah, because 2 Yodi left and all this other stuff. So they still got stuff they got to do before they get it started. But ultimately, as far as the offensive line, it's a tremendous opportunity. You got a guy, number one, Donovan has played at a high level, played at Wisconsin, started 3 years, I think. And he's coached at a high level. So if you have aspirations to go into another level, this is a guy that can get you there. Not that coach, and this is the thing. And also kudos to Coach Austin. He's down at Florida International, Florida FIU. So as I'm talking about Donovan, I can say the same things about Coach Austin, right? I don't think Coach Austin did a bad job. I just think, to be honest with you, some guys just didn't play well.
I think that's the right place to put that. Is Donovan will have his hands full.
Oh yeah, but
but I'm believing what you say, that he's putting folks on notice and that the work will get done.
Well, anytime that you listen here, when I was in the pros, you always watch the draft. They draft somebody. If you're a running back DP, right? They draft Rico. Okay, yeah, you might be good. You might have had a good second year or whatever it is, but they still drafting Rico, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm a offensive lineman or whatever, you got to be on notice, even with the recruiting classes. And then if you got a new coach, you're not even necessarily on notice. Yeah, things are going to be different. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but it should be something you should welcome, because unless you are a established player that is dependable and has played well, you got to know that this is a new opportunity to play even better.
I don't want to be anywhere where I'm comfortable.
Well, football's not a comfortable position. That's how you get knocked smooth out.
Hey, man, just ask Michigan. Get comfortable. We'll toward the break. We're back. Rico, got some trivia for us? What do you got?
I'll find something.
I know you will. We'll do that when we come back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're thinking about a new career, improving your job skills, or just continuing your love of lifelong learning, Southeast Community College's Spring Continuing Education Catalog is hitting your mailbox soon. It's chock full of options. Learn how to write a compelling grant application, become a pharmacy tech, or even learn to ride a motorcycle. We even provide the bike. Check out your catalog or go to southeast.edu/continuing education. SCC. your path to possible.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
I'm Dan Friedman. When you entrust the care of an aging or sick loved one to a nursing home, it can be a gut-wrenching decision. Unfortunately, sometimes these facilities are poorly managed or make bad decisions, and our vulnerable loved ones suffer the consequences. If you believe your loved one suffered at the hands of a poorly run nursing home, it doesn't cost you a thing to get the opinion of a skilled trial lawyer. At Friedman Law, we've been protecting the rights of injured Nebraskans for over half a century. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. There's a lot of CBD shops opening up in Lincoln, but Trek CBD focuses on quality above all else. Their products are from local CBD company Nico Farms and are third-party laboratory tested. They have products that can help with stress, anxiety, pain, relief, and more, and have a wide selection of Delta 8, including Serene 8. Trek CBD is locally owned and operated. Go visit Scott or Shannon at their 84th and Highway 2 location or at 27th and S, or go online to Trek CBD with free delivery. Trek CBD. CBD done right.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
Opioid pain medication took everything that I had. Nothing mattered more than getting my fix. Knowing that it could have been prevented makes it worse. It just takes one.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Developed by CDC.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
If you're struggling to get motivated to work out, you're not alone, and Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping is here to help. Build muscle, burn fat, and lose weight with Farrell's 10-week challenge starting January 8th, all for a chance to win $1,000. Farrell's combines kickboxing with inclusive strength training and nutrition planning to help you stay on track. Go to fxblincoln.com to sign up today. It's the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-week challenge starting January 8th with 2 locations in Lincoln.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill has been your go-to in South Lincoln for years, and their second location in downtown Lincoln is now open. Rosie's downtown spot is Lincoln's premier Nebraska party bar with the Sidetrack Band every Friday night of home games and all day for Nebraska home football games. With 34 TVs that are 65 inches or bigger, you'll always have a great view for all the games. Make sure to check out the new Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, now open in downtown Lincoln at 10th and P.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment of Old School. We'll close it out with this. Rico's question of the day. Rico, what do you got, brother?
All right, everybody wants to complain about bowl games, and there's too many bowl games and, all that fun stuff. Everybody, opting out of bowl games and all that stuff. So I got some bowl game trivia. Okay. Which of the following, I'm going to give you four answers, only one is true. Which of the following is not a bowl game? The Radio City Bowl, the Insight.com Bowl, the Outback Bowl, or the Crucial.com Humanitarian Bowl?
Okay, give them again.
All right, again, one of these is not a bowl, just one. The Radio City Bowl, Insight.com Bowl, Outback Bowl, Crucial.com Humanitarian Bowl.
Jay?
It's the last one isn't a bowl game.
The Crucial.com Humanitarian Bowl, it is a bowl.
That's the Bahamas one, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah. I think it's just Bahamas.
It's the first or last one.
DP.
Read them again.
Radio City, Insight.com, Outback, Crucial.com, Humanitarian.
I'll go number 2.
That is also a bowl game.
It's number 1.
It's number 1.
Yeah.
There is a Music City Bowl.
Yeah,
there is no Radio City Bowl.
I was thinking that Radio City
Well
is
done.
New York, right?
Well
yeah,
done.
yeah, it's well done.
There's no Radio City Bowl.
Well done. You suck.
Gotcha.
Well done. That's pretty good. Well done. I can
It's fun.
accept that.
I love bowl games. I hate that they change sponsor. Like the Fiesta Bowl should always be Tostitos. It
I
shouldn't
wonder
be
if those cats
PlayStation.
get PlayStation 5.
Oh, they do. Each player on both teams got a PlayStation 5.
Does anybody in Lincoln
And
know
then
how to
they-
get a PlayStation 5?
Are you still looking?
Just call one of the players.
Paging.
Yeah,
That
call
you-
one of the
that-
players.
There was a player that reached out to me and asked me if because I got mine, and he was like, "Hey, do you know how to get it?" I was like, "Dude, my wife was up at like 4 a.m. just because she woke up and she saw Target had them and got mine ordered. I
Well,
can't
now's
help
the
you."
time, right?
But like right before Christmas, or no, right after Christmas was the time, because before they were trying to sell them, people wanted them as gifts and everything. They were up to like $1,000. Right after Christmas, they got as low as resellers were selling them for about $100 over retail, so about $500-$600. But now it's skyrocketed back up.
What's
So
a
now
good
they're-
price to pay for a PlayStation 5? Say
Well-
somebody gets one.
The disc edition is $499.9, so it's $500. The non-disc one is about $300. So I mean, I would say like $100 over retail would be a good price.
So what's the non-disc one? You just buy everything.
You have to buy it
online?
on the place, like on PlayStation Network. So it's all digital games.
Are they the same game?
It's the same game, yeah. It's the same game. It's just
It's
on
not
the
a bootleg
PlayStation.
game.
Yeah.
But with that one, the smart idea would be to buy a new internal hard drive. So then you have more space for games because they're all just going to be on the hard drive. So if right now, the hard drive that they have in them are pretty small, you can hold probably 5 games. Then you're just going to have them in your library, delete it, re-download a different one to play it and all that. It's just a mess. But you can get like a 2 terabyte hard drive in there that holds hundreds.
What are the 5 games you hold in yours?
I got an external, so I got CDs.
Say this is
So you got a disc one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got the disc.
spoiled rotten.
Look, I like the physical copies. That's what I do.
You gonna get Jay's?
I mean, I'm gonna look around.
My birthday coming up, man.
I'm still looking around. I mean,
I'll pay for it. I ain't asking for free. I just want a PlayStation 5, man.
I'll see what I can do. I got friends. I see what I can do.
Yeah, I know.
You've been saying that since I've been here.
He's still connected to folks over at Target.
I almost got you one. It would have had to been delivered from one of my friends down in Florida, but he sold it to like his next door neighbor or something.
I got you. I understand that.
Well, we'll keep that in mind.
I just keep asking people, "Hey, I got a former NFL player who wants a PS5."
Yeah, you know.
Maybe we'll get somebody.
Hey Jay, before we let you go, does Antonio Brown play in the league again?
Why? I mean, I don't even know anybody that would even think about even picking him up.
Somebody might be desperate for a wide receiver.
I don't know. I mean, I know. I mean, I look at mental health is real. Obviously, he's probably got some issues going on, but I just think that ever since he's reached stardom to be making a pretty significant amount of money, you've just seen continued issues. It's been warning signs. Listen, here's a few. When guys can't deal with pressure, they usually act out. Tampa Bay really needed him, and he let them down real bad. Let down Tom Brady, let down himself. Now, I'm sure Tampa bringing him back after missing 3 games probably enabled him some, but ultimately, no, he's done. It's not even that. I'm sure. I'm assuming that he's made a pretty significant amount of money, so he's set pretty much there. I'm assuming, but he's worse than Terrell Owens. He'll never get. He's a Hall of Fame receiver. He won't get in, and that's things that he deserves by the work that he put in on the field. Right? He earned that. I mean, but what he's done off the field is just. I mean, he's just killed himself. Now, I will say this: if what they're saying is true, that they asked him to go in, he said, "I'm too hurt to go in." Asked him again. I ain't feeling I can't perform. Then he just cut him on the spot. I could see you just saying, and when he said get out of here, you're cut on the spot. I mean, I would have probably maybe had to walk into the locker or ran in the locker room, and then that would have been it. But I wouldn't have took my shirt off and threw my pads and all that stuff.
It's a tough way to end it.
But it's also on the coach, though. You shouldn't be cutting a player on the spot. And I get it in the heat of the moment. You shouldn't be doing that.
No, we'll figure it all out.
But
Jay?
Antonio Brown's a, you know what.
Appreciate you, man. Stay tuned. We'll go one-on-one when we come back. Top of the hour, 10 o'clock.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College